The category was named. We'll toss that aside. We're starting, and it looks like Koi is the odd man out, starting at Link's
Hey,
house.
I had 3 and 1 right. I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good call on that one, but no bonus points for you.
No, it does look like we start out with the flute, though, in Link's house. That's a nice little pickup. I saw 2 pendants, and then Eastern Palace was one of our crystals, so that's good information. Green pendant is Tower of Hera. It's relatively easy to access, so we'll see where we go from there. Tree pull is fairies. Wow.
Well, it looks like we found some rupees in our first chest. Now let's see what the uncle has. Ooh, piece of heart. So the
Oh, that's mean. We have one of our sword upgrades is on the lumberjack ledge. For those of you who are unfamiliar, remember, in order to get that sword off the lumberjack ledge, you have to defeat Aghanim and then have the boots to dash into the tree. So that's one of our swords that's really kind of taken out of play for now.
Yeah, it almost feels like we can pretty much write off the butter sword at this point, because I don't think anybody's going to want to defeat Aghanim to get that butter sword.
Well, we don't think so, but if we have to defeat Aga anyway to get our normal Darkward access, and then happen to be in the area and only have Master Sword, I can see positions where we would do it. Oh, we have a hook shot already.
And a glove. So Blind's Hut with hook shot and the glove. So it looks like Zelda and Old Man Sunshine are playing with power. They have the power glove and the hook shot. And it looks like Frostbite's going to be right on their heels, picking up hook shot. And when we get over to that other chest on the top side, that'll give them the power glove.
Now, worth noting that already, Koi picking up that flute in Link's house, he's the only one that started out at Link's house, and he's the only one with that flute. So he is not going to have to route activating that flute in the village. Again, he's not going to have to make a second trip back. He can do it in his first route through Kakariko. So advantage Koi already in this early matchup of the round.
Now that's definitely quality of life. Going to give Koi a massive mobility advantage.
Now, I suspect everyone's going to eventually pick up the flute. It's just a matter of saving time now so that you're not trying to play catch up later. Cane of Samaria in our chicken hut. This is beginning to be another Stackerico.
Well, I think all we need is a little bit of offense at this point, and we'll be good to go.
Well, I don't know. I'm already looking at this, and I mean, we logically have access to the east side of Death Mountain right now. Like, I'm half tempted to go up the mountain before we do anything like South Shore, which is what you would normally route. At least Koi can do that. The other runners are probably going to save and quit Link's house and then do the South Shore loop and then get back to it. Koi might be able to forego the entire South loop, at least to start out with.
Oh, it'll be interesting to see what Koi does, because I figure we'll go bottle vendor, activate the flute, but then is Koi going to use the flute immediately, or just kind of put it in the pocket and go, all right, I'm still going to finish what I have to do here in the south side of Kakariko?
I mean, I'm pretty sure he'll finish up CAC at very least, but after that, you check the race game and then say, hey, I'm fluting away and I'm going right up the mountain. Zell, meanwhile, finds our first fetch quest in the back of Escape. We do have our shovel, so that'll be... We'll see how quickly they turn that in.
So Koi not going to get ahead of himself, going to pick up the cane. That's really what I was alluding to, was maybe Koi just getting tunnel vision and forgetting the rest of Kakariko exists. And just going, oh, well, I can flute away, so bye.
You know, one thing we can say about at least all of the runners on this restream is I've never... okay, I can't say I've never seen them get tunnel vision quite that bad. It's happened, but I don't know. Zell, oh my goodness. So Zell, because he found the key, he kind of took the backdoor route. He was in Dark Cross. Zell found the bow, our first progressive bow upgrade in Dark Cross. So that is logically locked behind the lamp, but he found it. That's pretty significant for Zelgadesian there.
Well, it looks like our shovel's going to reward us with some blueberries, so not the greatest shovel, but Koi actually going through the race game without checking it first. Zelgadesian with the bow looks like heading straight to excuse me, that's
the Eastern Palace. Yeah.
I'm
and
like,
this
wait
makes
a second.
complete sense. You know, when
I'm like,
you make...
yeah, it's Palace of Darkness. I couldn't remember what the Light World was. Oh, there's a pendant in the swamp.
Bombos,
Or,
that's an...
Drain the dam.
Yeah. Bombos, and then we also had Ether that was in Sahasrara's closet. You know, Zell's play makes sense. He did a sequence break in order to get that bow. It's really his only weapon right now, but it makes sense if you make that kind of gamble, lean into it. You know, use what you pick up to your advantage early on, especially if you don't think the other runners are capable of doing those dark rooms, because it's not necessarily easy. So if you don't think anyone else is doing it, lean into what you got.
Whoa, wait a second here. Somebody gave Koi a pointy object. Are we sure we can allow him to run around with stuff like that?
Where was that sword?
I do not know. Oh, it was the chest.
Oh, it's a dam
from the chat. Wow.
Meanwhile, Koi is going to be over. Yeah, so Koi is doing the traditional south route. Meanwhile, Frostbite and Old Man are doing kind of what I predicted. We'd go pretty quickly up the mountain to do the east side of Death Mountain. Zell is following his Eastern Palace play. Blue Male in the Ice Rock Cave, keeping it chill.
I think this makes sense for Koi because there's no penalty to kind of do what Koi just did. Now they can rejoin Frostbite and Old Man and just heading up Death Mountain at this point.
No, absolutely. I mean, it was a logical play to go ahead and do. And there's another sword. We've already found 3 swords in this game. What's going on here, Freako?
Oh boy, this is what I get for doing Link to the Past commentary. Utter and complete madness. Now we have ourselves a bottle found by Frostbite.
Wow, and Eastern Palace, or the East Death Mountain, other than that sword, hasn't really been anything. We have Spiral Cave to check, but other than that sword, it's been nothing over here, which is really really kind of disappointing given how early we got that hook shot.
Can the hook shot kind of be like that like decoy where you're like, wow, I have a hook shot, so since I have the hook shot, it's got to be used for something, right?
I mean, rando's gonna rando, and that's just kind of the nature of it. You know, there's, I think, a temptation, and there's especially confirmation bias for most of us who run these seeds, a few times a week, where you get an early item that unlocks a large area like hookshot does or flippers early, and you immediately think that's got to be where we lead, and it doesn't always work out. Oh, press F for old man. Ugh. Old man taking a death up on Death Mountain.
Yeah, I think that may have been intentional. It looked like he was just running into the dead rocks, but Frostbite turning in the bottle, getting a pack of blueberries from the sick kid.
Koi looking like he's also going to be doing the Dark Cross play. He has it a little bit easier. He has a sword to use those sparkles. When you hold out your sword, you have some sparkles, and it can help you navigate certain parts of those dark rooms. So it's going to be a little easier for Koi, I think. But he's going to be able to pick up his bow. Again, it's out of logic. If Zell finds anything, just a pack of blueberries as well. But he does get a first crystal.
Yeah, we're not even 12 minutes in, and Zelgadissin picking up the first crystal out of our restreamed runners. And there we go, Koi picking up the bow.
We got so many interesting items so early. We're seeing the runners starting to run over each other's progress at this point in time. Now we're doing things, checking Mini Moldorm for other folks. Zell has some catching up to do in terms of turning in the shovel and doing some of these other south route checks. Koi is now going over here to Eastern. But we still haven't found really and truly where our progress is. We're still 2 items away from any sort of Dark World access. We have Master Sword availability. Man, I don't know if I want to see the lamp quite yet, because that could indicate that we're looking at a required Agassiz. We were talking about that earlier.
Well, that would definitely put the Butter Sword back into play, but I guess I'm going to be hopelessly optimistic and presume that the Lumberjack Cave having that sword upgrade will not come into play this season. But then again, I am someone who's like, alright, give me the Pedestal Seed, give me the Aga Seed. I feel conflicted somewhat now.
So I'm being, it looks like, was that, and it's been a little bit, I'm just reviewing some lists here, and I'm seeing Moon Pearl was on top of Spectacle Rock. Was that a thing, Chad? Help me out here if you saw it. Did we just completely miss that?
Link Force has confirmed that Spectacle Rock has the Moon Pearl.
My goodness. Okay, that things just got a little bit spicier, because that's a little bit important.
So is turning in the mushroom going to be our progression here? Because technically we could go into Eastern Palace. The mushroom...
Yeah, I mean...
available.
It's possible. Well, and here's the other thing. Imagine this: mushroom leading to lamp, leading to Aga, leading to mirror on the pyramid ledge. Oh my God! I'm vomiting in my mouth just thinking about all this. But it's a very real possibility.
Don't get too carried away now. Come on. Alright, so the big chest, Koi picking up the mushroom, confirming that it is entirely possible for our runners to have picked up the hook shot. So I'm going to play a little game of, like, Clue, you know, where it's, you know, Professor Plum in the conservatory with the lead pipe. So right now, it looks like the hook shot leading to mushroom, which then leads to who knows what at this point.
All I know is things are starting to get a little bit disgusting right at the moment. And, you know, these runners are now running over each other's footsteps. And we still don't have the answer to the important questions.
Well, it looks like
what's
we're
the
going to get one of them, because Frostbite's at the witch's hut and turned in the mushroom.
Mirror. Oh, God, that's huge for Frostbite. Hey, Frico, I have a question for you.
What is that?
Do you want to do a fetch quest?
Why, yes, sir. I would love to do a fetch quest. So, hookshot to mushroom to mirror. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's... Well, I mean, to be fair, because mushroom is in the first part of Eastern Palace, you don't necessarily even need the hook shot to get the mushroom. In fact, one could make the argument that doing Eastern first was probably the more logical play, but Zell didn't turn in his mushroom before going up the mountain, so he lost any advantage that he would have gained by doing Eastern Palace first by not turning in the mushroom. Now, he didn't know that when he did it, but that's Rando's gonna Rando.
Well, it looks like Koi's gonna pick up our second crystal of the restream by finishing off Eastern Palace about 5 minutes behind when Zelgadissin, actually 6. So it's almost close to 18 minutes, and Zelga did it before 12. So Zelga, a 6-minute advantage over Koi, strictly on when they finish Eastern Palace. However, that may not translate into an actual lead at this point, because Koi has the mirror, Zelga does not.
And Frostbite just picked up his French vanilla moon pearl. I mean, it's just outside the doors that you normally get. Now, Tower of Hera, this is going to be kind of an interesting case study because it's a green pendant. It's not something that you necessarily have to clear. And we may not be able to full clear because we don't have a fire source. So if there's one of the items that is in the basement, we may not even be able to get that particular item. So that's a bit of a risk, but there's one of our 2 items.
Hello. Well, that looked like a pretty good item to start out with in Tower of Hera. The boots making an appearance right on the main floor.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Now, Frostbite is doing this this little trick here. Bomb jump into the pop.
This would be interesting to see. Oh, wow. I have not seen this before, but it looks like Zelga and Old Man Sunshine, both at the witch's hut, and I believe both picked up the mirror.
Yeah, I just saw that for the first time earlier this evening, and I'm blown away. I'm going to learn that trick, like, immediately. And here's the nice thing. The second item was in the big chest. So Frostbite doesn't have to open anymore. He knows everything else he's going to get. There's 3 dungeon items. It's going to be a map, compass, and a key. So he doesn't have to worry about opening another chest at all. That's huge for Frostbite there. I mean, it's huge for the dungeon layout. Everyone's going to get the same sort of layout, but...
Well, does Frostbite doing that little trick, net him anything? I mean, aside from a green pendant and finishing Tower of Hera, with Old Man Sunshine and Zelgadissin already into the beginning of Tower of Hera, did Frostbite gain an advantage over those two by pulling off his little trick?
So, I mean, it's my understanding that that's a fairly common shortcut that people use now, so I would not be surprised if Zell and Koi also know that particular trick. Yeah, Zell's setting his up right now. Here's where it's going to come into play, though. Zell and Koi have both already cleared Eastern Palace. So until they get around to going over to do Palace of Darkness in the Dark World, where they can mirror back over and turn in that green pendant, for example, as soon as Frostbite's able to, he can go over there and kind of route turning that in altogether, and he gets literacy from Bonk Rocks there. So, I mean, Frostbite may be able to do things just a little bit more efficiently in turning in that green pendant, whereas Koi and Zell are going to have to make a special trip back unless they route it in with Desert Palace, which I imagine they will. It'll just take a little bit longer.
Wow, so it looks like all of our runners, at least at the start, we kind of go, "Ooh, that's a good play. Oh, hello."
Yeah, Flipper's on the library ledge, so that's another solid pickup from those boots. So, Pendant Dungeon absolutely required.
Well, I don't know about Pendant Dungeon required. Stopping in to get the boots seems to be definitely required. I don't know so much about the rest of the dungeon.
I mean, yeah. Okay, you have to at least put your foot in the front door. We don't know if you have to clear it out yet, but you at least have to put your foot in the front door.
Well, we'll see what Sahasrara gives on turning in that pendant. I think that's really what's going to be the determining factor as to, the absolute necessity or not of Tower of Hera.
Let's see, Frostbite set up his water walk perfectly, so he's going to dash up to Hobo. Bottle of Blue Goo on the Hylia Island. Meanwhile, Koi is doing the escape sequence now. Lots of treasures there. Let's see. Zell's going to check Lumberjack Ledge now. You got the boots this early. You might start to think, okay, maybe there's something logically there. It's just a sword.
Alright, so Frostbite checking in on the Hobo and just kind of bouncing out. I did not see what the Hobo had, with all 4 of our runners all over the place. Well, looks like Frostbite's going to head up to the waterfall. I'm not sure if he has the 500 rupees. That looks like an 839 to me, so...
Yeah,
more than
everyone
enough.
else has around 800 or so that makes sense at that point. Zell also picking up his flippity floppies. There is a 0% chance that anyone picks up that red mail, because as your uncle tells you, red mail is for cowards.
Oh, Zora. All right, so Zora was a definite swing and a miss. Just a piece of heart there. Did not see what was on the ledge. I believe that was the red mail.
Yeah, Lumberjack ledge was the red mail. So I don't think any of these players will get that.
Zora's ledge.
Zora ledge, yeah.
Wait a second. Lumberjack? No, that's where that's where our butter sword's gonna be resting. So it looks like Koi's gonna head into Tower of Hera now, so that will net the boots as well as the flippers by proxy of having the boots.
Interesting that Frostbite is checking Agina's cave before dipping into Desert Palace. Generally, I mean, this is... we were talking on the tournament race earlier, you know, do you route, you know, route optimistically, like everything's going to go perfectly, or do you route pessimistically, like everything's going to go wrong? And this is, I don't know how this is routing per se, but checking Agina's cave, generally you do that after you can dip into Eastern Palace, or after you dip into Desert if you can. But you can do both kind of within one another. It's not that much of a time loss.
And speaking of red mail, Zelgadissin actually picked it up after getting scammed by Zora.
Well, Zelga's a coward.
Okay, I can agree with this.
I'm just kidding. Love you, Zel. I know you're going to watch this again later. So interesting, the big key to Desert Palace was on the torch, so boots were absolutely required. Had to do Tower of Hera before you could really do much progress in here. And yeah, chat asking where was Bo? It was in the Dark Cross room. It is out of logic right now. So those folks, Koi and Zell, who have it and have cleared Eastern Palace, it is absolutely out of logic. But
Well, stepping into Tower of Hera gets the boots. Unfortunately, there's nothing else that really helps from Tower of Hera. The green pendant, unfortunately, leading to a piece of heart. So the only way Tower of Hera becomes useful is a pedestal seat?
we're such a long ways off from that. I don't even want to curse the world putting that out, but we are looking increasingly likely. I mean, we have our Moon Pearl and one lift upgrade. Man, we still don't have our Dark World access. Man, the last thing I want to see right now is the land.
In Desert Palace.
Oh, we did? Okay.
So I think that should give us Dark World access. Not fully, I don't think, but it does give Dark World access.
I apologize, chat. I completely missed it. I was busy looking some other things up. So Frostbite first into the Dark World at 29 minutes. No crystals complete yet for our runners there on the right side. Some out of logic crystals for our runners on the left. But we'll be able to do, yeah, Thieves Town is clearable. That's the only one that's full clearable right now. Oh, I guess we can do Swamp Palace if we really want to.
Ah, we got a blue orang in the treasure chest.
Now, Anorex. Oh, there's Gold Glove. French Vanilla Titan Smiths. What?
I was just gonna say, what could we possibly look to get in Thieves Town that would start to open up the rest of the map? And, well, I think we found something there in the Titans mix.
Well, and Titansmiths makes me a little bit nervous because that opens up so much. I mean, we start having logical access to Ice Palace. We start having logical access. We have the flute. Hey, we start having logical access to Misery Mire as well. I mean, Dark Death Mountain. We have the early Cane of Samaria. We do not have the Fire Rod, but it's possible that Turtle Rock isn't Fire Rod locked. And we can have some fun in there right now. The Titansmith is probably the last thing you want to see right now because it opens up too much of the world when you still have stuff to find.
Ooh, that's interesting. So, is that kind of like how the hookshot kind of opened up a little too much of the world originally, right at the start?
Absolutely. It's that kind of early world routing on steroids because now we have too much of the world opened up. This is where you're going to start seeing a lot of real crazy route divergence at this point in time. If someone feels like they're really behind, we could see kind of an offhanded Ice Palace or Misery Mire gamble. Misery Mire wouldn't even be a bad play anyway, given our current loadout, if we can open it. If we have 2 of the 3 pendants, so it's possible that we can open it. We have absolutely the ability to get into the front door and go ahead and full clear it. Now, we still don't have the lamp, so logically we wouldn't necessarily be able to full clear it, but Koi and Zell have already shown a propensity to be able to navigate those dark rooms. I don't think they would have any qualms about dipping into those. Lamp was in Thieves Town. What? Guys. Wow. Okay, so.
Well, speaking of the route divergence, we have Sunshine headed, somewhat into, let's see, that's Skull Woods. Frostbite's in Thieves Town. And Zelga's in Swamp Palace.
I like this play from Zell. We did have relatively early access to the hookshot, the mirror, the flute, or the flippers. I think he's trying to do some seed reading here. He's trying to play the game and let the seed kind of guide him to where he's going.
Well, so far it doesn't seem to be anything too exciting, but there's still more to be found, as Frostbite's going to take on Blind.
Blind, a very easy fight. If you go in there originally, it is scripted, so you can do the same thing every time. Doesn't matter if you have the butter sword or a fighter sword. 3 hits per head, and he goes down. Clean fight there from Frostbite.
So at least for a small bit of time, we're going to have all 4 runners in 4 different dungeons. Frostbite exiting out of Thieves Town, Koi in Desert, Zelga in Swamp, and Old Man Sunshine looks like he's in Thieves Town right as Frostbite makes his way out of there. So Koi's going to pick up a hammer. I don't believe Desert is clearable at this point, or am I overlooking something?
No, Desert is not clearable. Well, it is now, because as long as you get the lamp from Thieves Town, then you can go ahead and clear Desert. But otherwise, you cannot. But it's a pendant. The final pendant is Turtle Rock. So the last thing you want to do is see that ice rod at any point in time. We will need the fire rod for Skull Woods at some point, but you're all right holding off on that for now.
Well, it looks like
fire rod and Swamp Palace, really. It's every time. Okay, now I'm just jinxing it, guys. Like, talk about how someone needs something, and someone's literally picking it up as I'm talking about it. What is this?
All right, well, let's pick the next item that
No.
we read off the list. Start talking
No, I'm
about
not
it.
gonna.
It'll magically
No, I
appear.
don't want to do it. I don't. No, this is already a bit of a jet seed already.
But one thing that we may have missed, Frostbite went into Hype Cave, found the cape and the Redarang. So the Redarang, not so important, but the cape, I think that's definitely a quality of life upgrade for Frostbite.
Well, it's quality of life, and I think so. We are in quasi no mode. The only thing we are potentially missing is Quake, possibly to get into Misery Mire. We don't know what the medallion to get into Misery Mire is yet. That is a pendant. However, we know where everything else is needed to clear the game. At 36 minutes, we know it all. We know everything that we need to know, which is insane.
All right, I need to test this theory a little bit. Because one thing that's coming to mind, I guess Turtle Rock being a pendant, would Ice Rod come into play at all?
No. I mean, unless something is locked behind Trinex. Because Trinex is the only reason at any point in time we need the Ice Rod. So if Trinex is holding a key item, or the pedestal is holding an item.
So my conspiracy theory right now, and I believe Chad has come up with it already, is it possible to gate out Misery Mire by putting the pendant behind the pedestal?
Yes, right now, because we're only in pseudo no mode, we do not yet know, because no one has gone over to Misery Mire to see what medallion is required to unlock Misery Mire. Now, we know for a fact that Turtle Rock, I mean, we don't know what Turtle Rock is, one way or the other. If Turtle Rock is Quake, by the way, then Quake absolutely cannot be locked behind Trinex in any capacity. However, if Quake is required to unlock Misery Mire, then Quake absolutely can be on the pedestal or behind Trinex in any capacity. That would be not a great case, but you know what? We're at no mode at sub 40 minutes. I don't care. Let's troll, folks.
Alright, so it looks like Zelga's gonna
So
oh.
Yeah, I mean, right now being in no mode, we have, about 20 or so racers who are all racing this race along with us. We just chose 4 volunteers who decided to be restreamed. We talked about it early on how, these runners have gone in wildly different directions. There's the Cane of Berna, my best cane. Just these runners have gone in such wildly different directions. While we're in no mode, it might be a little bit before anyone's actually in go mode, because we've seen, honestly, a lot of the world.
Well, it looks like Misery Mire's revealed to be Quake. Or excuse me, no, that's Ether. That's the sideways one is Quake. The up and down is Ether. So we can get into Misery Mire.
Yeah, Ether. So, Pet is dead, Fred. Yeah, the real trick, I think, for Frostbite and Old Man is going to be that bow that's in Dark Cross. There's no reason. God, that's such a one-off location that's way, way hidden. They're gonna be doing crystal dungeons. They are going to full clear pod and swamp and ice palace and Skullwoods. They're gonna full clear all of these. And if they don't find a bow at some point, I mean, logically they're doing the right thing. They're gonna be clearing out crystal dungeons and continuing to make progress. Knowing what we know, where the bow is in kind of a one-off Dark Cross location that Koi and Zell sequence broke. That's going to make for a really interesting storyline as this race continues forward.
Now, to follow up on that, at what point would the Dark Cross location come into play for Frostbite and or Sunshine going, all right, this is where I need to go to check that thing? Or is it, like you just said, such a one-off, you just kind of go and pull your hair out?
Well, there's two things at play here. The first one is with the version 30 update, bows are now progressive, so you can't have like the silver arrows without the bow. You're going to get first bow, and then your second bow upgrade would be your silvers. So it's possible for them to find another bow on their way, and that's their bow, and they'll go mode, and these runners are all good enough they can do silverless cannon, not a problem. So if they're not able to do that, my goodness, I don't know which runners have already done escape. If they have already done escape, Dark Cross is a one-off that might be a last location check. And in that case,
what was done escape? Because Koi went through, rescued Zelda from, well, if Zelda were still in the jail cell, but didn't go through behind Aghanim's spot there, throne, I guess we could call it, and into the back of the escape section. He just went at least to the jail cell. Other than that, I haven't seen anyone, anywhere near Hyrule Castle for a good part of the run.
Yeah, if they haven't done it, then, they may do the escape sequence looking for it. It may still be further down on the list. I think they're still going to clear out their crystal dungeons that they can complete first. Or like Frostbite is doing, it looks like he's going to go do Dark Death Mountain right now. Meanwhile, Zelgadesian at 41 minutes and some change is now officially in go mode.
Wow.
I would not be surprised to see Zell immediately go to Misery Mire to check, because he wants to know if he's in go mode or not after this dungeon. Like he's just gonna go right to Misery Mire and say, "Am I in go mode?" Yes. Okay. And turn on the afterburner.
Oh, here we go. Old Man Sunshine's gonna take on. This is Vitreous. Oh, it's been so long I can't even remember the boss names.
Oh, Vitreous, and this is going to be a rough fight too. Keep in mind he's still in green mail for Vitreous, and Vitreous hurts. Like, those eyeballs do more damage than eyeballs have any reasonable respect to do to a grown human being.
He is down to half a heart right now. He got bopped by an eyeball, and it just about halved his health. So a wild lightning bolt shot from the big eyeball, and that'll do it.
Yeah, he's got to be very careful. He's using spins right now. Again, he does not have the bow. He's not using bomb strats either, which could get some hits on him. He's got to take it. This is a slow and steady wins the race. Kind of as if he were an old man or something.
Well, I think he's a little too worried about getting hit to try to utilize any kind of bomb strat at this point. So it's just gonna spin to win and take down Vitreous that way.
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, he's in a good position now. He's no more lightning bolts, and everything is, I mean, unless he tries to get swaggy here with his spins, I think he'll be fine from this point forward. This was a long Vitreous fight compared to what it can and should be. Meanwhile, Frostbite. Oh, rip Frostbite. Frostbite is entering Pendant Turtle Rock looking for a bow. Oh,
Yeah, and it looks like RW Noon, what was in Dark Crossroom, that sort would be the bow. So yeah, I think it's appropriate to press F to pay respects to Frostbite here with all the time that he's just murdered going into Turtle Rock here.
And again, you know, the rules of the community streams are pretty straightforward. You know, it's an honor system because we're just playing for internet points here. But these runners do not have this stream up, and they do not have any other runners stream up, so they don't know the things that we know, that the bows in Dark Cross, they don't know, they can't see anything else. So they're guessing as best as they can.
Now, Chad actually brought up a interesting point here. Koi does not have the flippers. I know he went and did the race game, so he had to have checked the library along the way to know where the flippers are. I would hope.
I would hope so too.
We'll see. But Zelgadisson, I think, is, can we say prohibitively in the lead at this point? With at least the other three restreamed runners?
So this is a rant that I usually go on at least once a week. I hate using the term lead in a randomizer because anyone can come back from behind, especially if you don't know where anything is. However, Zell's in go mode. It's a straight line race at this point, so it's absolutely fair to say he's in the lead because no one else is in go mode, and he's getting ready to crush these crystal dungeons out in a blink of an eye. So yes, it's a lead, and it's a large lead because no one else is in go mode. I'm not. If chat wants to make themselves useful, can someone check Koi's stream to see if he's already checked off the library, because it's possible that he's already checked it off and thinks he doesn't ever have to go back there.
Well, you know, that's why, you know, I hesitate to really say anything about anyone being in a lead, because like we saw early on, it's like, oh, well, Zelda and Koi had the bow. Does that put them in the lead? Maybe. But there's so much that could happen, you know, 10 minutes into a seed that...
Yeah, it's far too early. You can't call it at that point in time. That's why I like to use the term advantage. Like, it was absolutely advantageous for them to have the bow at that point in time, but they didn't necessarily have a lead. Now that it's a straight line race for Zell, and it's just about execution, we can use the term lead. And I'm peculiar about that. I get philosophical about certain terminologies and races, and I drive the community nuts because I'm so picky about that language.
Well, it's not wrong. You know, but I guess, you know, to equate things to, like, let's say, the Daytona 500, you know, you may be in the lead at lap 3, but it really matters where you're at lap 200 much later on in the race.
Now you're just speaking Greek to me. I have no...
Now, lap 200 is the last lap of the Daytona 500, for what it's worth.
Oh, Zell doing some spooky action here with those torch glitches. God, it's so disgusting.
So at this point, it really is just Zelgadison going through and crossing off everything that's left. So we're going to see Vitreous. We're going to see... Let's see, that's going to be Helmasaur King in Palace of Darkness. And we see Zelda with the bow just absolutely mowing down Vitreous, as opposed to Old Man Sunshine having to kind of slow and steady winning the race, because if he would have taken a hit at any point ever, he would have just been flat dumpsters.
Here's the worst part. Frostbite's, this entire time we've been talking, Frostbite has been trying to work his way through Turtle Rock and found Bupkis for it. Not even like, I mean, I think he has one extra heart piece compared to everyone else. And that is so very, very, very sad for Frostbite. I mean, at least you can get something. But, I mean, it was nothing.
There's almost nothing that he could get his hands on aside from the Ice Rod at this point. Or maybe, you know, wherever the second progressive bow item would be, but it looks like Frostbite just said, no thank you, I'm done with this.
If Koi would have remembered where the flippers are, he would have gotten them right there. I'm fairly confident Koi either didn't check the library or has completely forgotten that the flippers are in the library at this point.
Oh, and as Rowdy Sniper correctly points out, Frostbite did get a shield upgrade. It's very important.
Oh, okay, yes. Yes,
I'm
the shield,
trying
it
to
is
say that with a straight
the
face,
most
and it's not
important
working.
item.
It's like Frostbite headed into Skull Woods at this point, so... Koi gonna do the digging game. Got about 8 more digs to go to find a whole lot of nada. Just a pack of blueberries in the digging game.
Zell finds the best cane, of course, in Palace of Darkness. Cane of Samara.
Oh, I didn't see right there when Koi opened up his inventory if he had the flippers or not. That's going to be a big-time oversight if he fails to pick up the flippers. He's right there.
Does Koi not have the fire rod yet either? No, he doesn't have the flippers or the fire rod. Wow. Yeah, at this point, I mean, Zell is in complete go mode. Everyone is capable of getting everything at this point in time. Just that bow and dart cross is so mean. And Koi and Zell being able to do it, ladies and gentlemen, and other folks in chat, just a reminder, if you plan on running Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past in any random master in any sort of competitive environment, I strongly, strongly recommend learn your dark rooms. This race is a prime example of the difference that you can make. Oh,
Yeah,
Koi found
Koi
the
has
flippers.
found the flippers. That was not the most efficient way to route in that check, I don't think. But Koi finally remembering that he needed to go to the library, pick up some flippers.
Question in chat, does Ice Palace need flippers or can you fake to it? You can't fake flipper to Ice Palace. However, if you're like you're down to 1 or 2 items, and one of those items are the flippers, it's generally not recommended you fake flipper because the flippers absolutely cannot be there. So if that's one of your 1 or 2 items and it's preventing you from getting to Swamp Palace, don't bother doing Ice Palace because it is so much quicker if you can full clear it, and the flippers aren't going to be there.
Looks like Frostbite is now pretty much full clearing Misery Mire at this point. Wow. Going a little bit out of the way. Checkerboard Cave going to show us a nice little blueberry patch to the far side.
And you know, this is one of those things that happens. We had such a front-loaded seed where everything was there. Zell found everything, and now we're starting to see some of these secondary and tertiary locations that Zell has fortunately been able to completely bypass. When we check it with other folks, it's going to be these blueberries, it's going to be the 10 arrows, it's going to be your big 20s and worthless rupees. Be prepared to see a lot of that. I'm not expecting to see another bow, at least until Ganon's Tower, if I'm honest.
But we could find the magic powder.
I mean, yes, we could.
Yeah, I don't think it would actually be of any help whatsoever to find the magic powder, but
see, the magic powder, I personally feel is one of the best survival items in the game, especially when you're climbing the gauntlet, because there's so many anti-fairies up there. It's just incredibly beneficial.
I mean, the problem that I have is that it's only a quality of life item. In that the magic bat possibly could be the other progressive bow location. Like, that's the only thing I'm thinking that, you know, may put the magic powder into play. You know, aside from, you know, the aforementioned turning anti-fairies into fairies, ascending Ganon's Tower.
So, just to clarify something, Koi is 1 item away from go mode. So, you know, he has skipped left side swamp, which we know is where Fire Rod is. This, I mentioned earlier, you know, routing based on an optimist perspective. So he's routing right now. He's clearing the back end because he has to clear out Swamp Palace anyway. So the way he's thinking is like, okay, if Fire Rod happens to be on my way in the back end, I've saved a bunch of time by skipping left side. Now, it's not going to be here, and when he's done, he's going to dive back in, and it's going to take him a little bit longer, but he's willing to risk spending a little bit more time dipping back into Swamp in order to get left side for the possibility that he might be able to save a ton of time by skipping left side Swamp entirely.
It's just one of those times where you unfortunately know that, you know, the player has the intentions of, you know, taking this gamble, but we know the gamble will not pay off for Koi. He will be able to take down the boss here at the end of Misery Mire, but Argus. But you know, Koi is going to have to go back into Swamp, or the obviously less desirable, you know, just tossing left side Swamp aside entirely, kind of like how Frostbite and Old Man Sunshine It's a bad analogy, but they've not done the Dark Cross to get the bow where Koi did it. No, and Koi's going to go back in. So I can stop my rant right there.
Alright, so Koi is going to be in go mode shortly.
Well, at this point, Zelda is into Ice Palace, which is the last of the crystal dungeons that need to be completed.
Depending on big key placement in Ganon's Tower, Zell is looking at an easy 1:15 time. Just knowing how well he runs and how well he does Ganon's Tower. 1:10 would be pushing it. I don't think he's going to get a 1:10, but I mean, 1:12 isn't out of the question at all. The only thing that makes me hesitate that it'll be that fast is because right now it's a silverless Master Sword Ganon, which is a little bit painful.
Wow, Frostbite is diving right in there. Activate Cape and just go to town. Now, with the silver arrows being a progressive item drop from 2 possible bow spots, is it likely that Zelda goes hunting in Ganon's Tower for items, hopefully to find a 3rd sword or perhaps the silver arrow?
So I will say that he'll do some hunting. Like if he gets the big key early, he'll open up chests on his way up Ganon's Tower for either the silvers or another sword. If he finds a sword, he's good. He's gone. If he finds silvers, he might still open a couple chests. He'll maybe open Boldorm's treasure chest, maybe open the one just in front of him, and then the 2 in the Helmasaur spike room. But barely. Like, Zell is one of those people that is completely comfortable doing Master Sword silverless. It's a pain in the tuchus for someone like me, but it's relatively straightforward for Zell. It's just takes a bit of time.
Wow, Koi at 1 hour, 3 minutes and some change into go mode. 22 minutes behind Zelda Disson being in go mode at this point.
Yeah, but Koi's still been making progress, so it's not all wasted time. Meanwhile, Zell is now officially gets his 7th and final crystal. So, ladies and gentlemen in chat, you know what time it is. There are 22 locations in Ganon's Tower that can possibly contain the Ganon's Tower Big Key 1 through 22. Get your guesses in chat. The winner, whoever's the first one to guess, we'll give you some internet points. 4.5 is not a valid guess, Sky Shadow. Nice try. I appreciate your attempts.
Oh, it's almost like a roulette wheel where you put the chips in between the 4 and the 5. So if either comes up, you win, just not as much. I think it's a valid bet.
And just a reminder for everyone who's listening in to us, we do have our fall tournament for Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past going on right now. There's no other matches tonight, but it will pick up again tomorrow at 2:20 Eastern time in the afternoon right here on this channel. Make sure to follow Speed Gaming 1 through 6 for all of your other speed gaming runs. And a big shout out to everyone who's putting on that tournament. So much fun. And make sure to follow us because we'd love to see you again.
Oh, looks like Zelda making a pit stop, picking up some chests along the way in Death Mountain.
Yeah, I mean those are quick checks. I mean, you do a quick cost benefit and say, okay, if I do this, how much time am I losing? 10 seconds. How much time could I potentially gain? A ton.
Yeah, that's very true. So, just a little pit stop for Zelgadison, 105.45, where we're going to head into Ganon's Tower. So, for the record, I'd like to say 5 is my guess until it actually wins.
I generally go with 9 because I've yet to guess right with 9. Oh my god, there's another bow right there. WTF, mate.
Wow, so the bow in Ganon's Tower, or the progressive bow, second upgrade in Ganon's Tower, so Dark Cross in Ganon's Tower.
And there's the ice rod on the torch. Ugh.
So, oh boy, where does that put Old Man Sunshine and Frostbite at this point? Because they can't do anything in the way of assaulting Ganon's Tower until they visit the Dark Cross room.
Yeah, and then they can't beat Palace of Darkness or Eastern Palace without a bow. What this tells me is they're going to full clear all the other crystal dungeons as much as they can. They can't full clear Turtle. I mean, they've already done, or Frostbite's already done Turtle Rock. They're probably going to clear Desert. Eventually, they're going to realize, oh, I haven't done Escape yet. Maybe I'll double check Dark Cross while I happen to be back there, and then curse loudly. I mean, if ever a chest deserved to be bombed and bombosed and frustration slash that, it would absolutely be a bow and Dark Cross.
Wow. Oh, well, it looks like Frostbite's giving Coldstare the business here, but out of magic, so Coldstare able to escape the corner. So it looks like 1, 2, and there's the third hit part gone. Bye-bye.
So it was Dr. Griff Nasty who chose 4, and 4 is our correct number. So you get my respect and admiration, Dr. Griff Nasty. That's all I can offer. My respect.
It's not who says it; it's who says it first. That is a key part of the equation here. It looks like we have a couple protests in chat, but I am definitely going to say that we have the correct winner in Dr. Griff Nasty. The third person to guess, Daniel Auberon guessing 1, and then Dr. Griff Nasty saying 1, then changing it to 4. So I don't know. Do we disqualify Dr. Griff Nasty for not locking in with his first answer?
Well, he did reiterate it later with a highlighted. Guys, this is for fun. Let's not make this so serious where we actually have rules that we have to enforce for this. Pretty please, with sugar on top.
And at the end of the day, it's all for fun. Dr. Griff Nasty was the first to pick number 4. So, for the fame and adoration of all, I believe he is our winner in this daily race seed.
At any rate, Koi is working his way through Skull Woods, making quick work of everything. Frostbite seems to be going into the right direction. He's now doing the escape sequence, going, "Where's this boo?"
Well, we know nothing's going to be in this particular part of it.
Hey, he's in the right part at this point. He's doing all right. Zell is now on Mr. Moldorm. I don't know. I was distracted, unfortunately, by chat a little bit. I have not seen if he's been opening chests as he's been climbing the tower. He's got the silver, so yeah, he's probably just booking it. But man, if there was a sword somewhere.
Now, Zelda's been going right through, so that's going to pick up Skull Woods for Koi. So let's see, it looks like Ice Palace for Koi is all that remains, but a little geometry test for Zelgadison.
Meanwhile, Frostbite is making his way. Whoa! Oh, no time for anything else. He's going right to it, mirroring out and saying, "Let's do this."
Oh, and I was about to say, how many Rage Slashes was Frostbite going to administer before getting out of there with the bow?
Nah, no need to. No need whatsoever.
Looks like Zelda's about to crash into the top of the pyramid. So it looks like we're going to have ourselves a Ganon fight, starting just a little after 112.
Meanwhile, while Zell is doing a wonderful Master Sword Ganon right now.
Oh no! Denied. And there is no fairy. Oh, caught the trident on the way back. That little block Zelgadison put down actually stopped him from evading the trident.
I do want to give a quick shout out to our tracker today, Link Force, who volunteered, and he's a bit crazy. We had a single tracker tracking all 4 of these at the same time. So big shout out to Link Force Zero doing all the work. Much love to you today, sir. So, Dr. Griffnasty, the point of the blocks is normally when you spin on Ganon during this phase, it will knock you out. It will knock you away from him. When you put the block down, it's knocking you into the block and keeping you in place so you can get some additional spins in. And it's much more efficient because it allows, see how Zell just kind of fell backwards when he hits him? That block allows you to kind of stay in place and then hit with the spins twice. It's a much more efficient method of doing Master Sword Ganon. Really kind of halves the time of doing that.
Ooh, Old Man Sunshine going all the out-of-the-way places at this point. Finding a bottle of blue goo on Lake Hylia Island. It looks like Zelda... Oh, just misses the 4th arrow. That one should do it.
Alright, race is not over until you cross this bridge, and believe me, we have seen people fall off this bridge. This is the most dangerous 1x3 bridge in the entire game.
Will Zelda be able to do it? Yes, he can!
And GG's to Zelgadison. He does finish first in the community race. with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 57 seconds. GG's to Zelgadesian.
Yeah, absolutely. A fantastic race by Zelga. Just seemed to be making all the right choices when it came to the routing, especially that dark cross early on, which netted the bow, and an early crystal, which seemed to give a advantage that Zelda was able to capitalize on.
He read the seed well early on and was absolutely rewarded for it. And then getting the silvers, like right there. That's like, that was icing on the cake, absolutely.
Yeah,
let's see if we can get
power for the silvers.
And joining us now is Zelgadesian. GG, sir.
Hey, GG. Thank you very much.
That was an amazing little race that you ran there. First, give me your initial thoughts, and then we'll talk about what we saw in our.
I was really hating everything about the light world until I got the hammer and realized that I was fire rod and mids from go mode unless I needed Quake, because I had just been everywhere in the light world except for escaping the uncle. Always a victory if you never touch the uncle. But I mean, I wanted to follow the flippers because I did all the light world stuff except Hobo, and flippers didn't have anything, so I felt like Swamp was a pretty clear play. I honestly was not expecting it to pay off as much as it did, but wow. And then I just kind of followed it to Village of Outcasts because that was where I had the most checks. Plus, on top of that, something like Pod that I was considering was something where, depending on the key routing, it could be totally different in Go mode. I mean, it wasn't much different this time, but Thieves Town is going to be Thieves Town regardless of if you're in Go mode or not. So I figured kind of heading towards that way was probably the best approach after I left Swamp. And yeah, I just got my mids there for Go mode. It was crazy.
Yeah, that ended up being, I mean, you made every play in that early Swamp play to get the fire rod. That was pretty significant. I'll tell you the thing that really set you apart early on, I think, was doing Dark Cross in the dark, of course, leading to the bow. That has been go mode for two of our other featured runners because they didn't sequence break it. They waited until they had the lamp, actually. And with the other bow in Ganon's Tower, you can imagine they've done some digging for that bow.
Oh yeah, I totally believe it. And it felt really good that I followed immediately and got the mushroom, which was required. Although it felt bad going up the mountain before turning it in, and then getting the mirror as soon as I saw that the Moon Pearl was up there. That was a little annoying, but yeah, that bow was really big, and I kind of thought it might be as soon as I got it. And then also just the fire on left side Swamp. I mean, with two items, I think most people would have gone for that, but still, I can't believe that one.
Also, I am contractually obligated to call you a coward for going out of your way to pick up red mail. I just want to let you know.
That's fair. If I didn't already have the mirror, I would have purposely skipped it so I could death ward places. But I figured, with the mirror, I might as well just grab it. And apparently it really mattered in GT because, wow, that was a awful climb.
Quick update for our people who are running. Koi moving through the gauntlet, however, he did not go to the right side at all. Went straight left, so he did not pick up the silver arrows. So he's going to be doing a full Master Sword silverless Ganon fight. We don't know where the fourth sword is. Good bet that it's not going to be on the way up.
Yeah, I was actually kind of hoping not to find it, just so I could do the Samaria Ganon, because I've never actually done that in a race. I've just practiced it a little bit. So, I mean, it wasn't as clean as it could be. Obviously, I died immediately, because Ganon stopped in the middle of the screen. I had no idea how to deal with that, but It felt nice to be able to do a Master Sword Samari again.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, Jeff, and what actually caused it. Because it looked like you got kind of blocked by the block that you had put down. Can you go into a little more detail on how that strategy works?
Yeah, so the basic approach is that you lay a Samaria block, and as long as you're holding a direction into it, whenever you release the sword spin, you'll stay in place. So like if it's on my left, I hold down and left, and it'll keep me in place to where you can always get double spins regardless of where Ganon is on screen. So it costs a little bit of magic, so I was really glad to find the silver arrows. So that way I didn't have to worry about magic saving for silverless. But yeah, that way you can essentially just place a block and always get double spins, even if he's away from the wall.
Well, that's good knowledge. So, is there anything that kind of stuck out to you? I know you mentioned the light world was not exactly friendly to you, but when you found the bow in the Dark Cross, did that just tell you, okay, I can now do these particular things that maybe other runners are not able to do?
It did a little bit, yeah. That's basically why I headed straight to Eastern, just to see if that led to anything. I held off on Pod just because by the time I was considering Pod, I was just the one item away from Go Mode. But I definitely think that if I hadn't found the Fire Rod, I think I probably would have gone to Pod before I headed to West Dark World, trying to find something in there.
Interesting. Well, that was definitely solid running from you. I was going to check to see if anybody else is finished yet, and I've been met by a, this extension is crashed, so unfortunately I can't even see who's finished at this point.
No one on the restream, however. Pink Kitty Rose did finish in second place. She finished with a time of 1:16.18. So about a minute and some change behind you there, Zell. And that was a seed that it, because of where the mitts were located, this is one of those seeds that if you happen to go where everything was, it could be really fast. But man, this is also one of those seeds where you could go on a hunt for a lot of different things as well.
Oh, absolutely. And like you kind of called it, it's the bow more than anything else. Like left side swamp is a little trolly, I think, but I think with 2 items and the normal route, you get the big key, so you're in the back, so you're going to come back in. I don't think the Fire Rod was a big deal, even though people hate left side swamp. But Dark Cross is one of those things that if you did the front of escape and just morph in that, there's no reason to ever go back there.
Well, in other news right now, it looks like Koi is taking a geometry test. So he is just a few hits on Ognum away from a Master Sword Silverless date with Ganon. Frostbite making his way through Ganon's tower. There we go, picking up the big key. Not mirroring out before checking the rest of the chests in that particular room. But Frostbite has silvers. I don't think he'll have enough time to catch up.
Okay, is old man doing it? Is he actually going to do escape now? I think he might be. So this is going to be interesting because Koi has to do Master Sword Silverless, which can take a while. If he struggles with it, he's at about half health right now with Blue Mail. So Ganon hugs are worth 6 hearts, and he takes a Trident hit, he cannot take another Ganon hug. If he ends up dying, that could give Frostbite an opportunity. Frostbite is starting his gauntlet approach. Frostbite does have the silver, so that's a significant time upgrade for Master Sword Silverless. This is much closer than you guys think. I mean, Koi does have a pretty decent advantage right now, but he's so low on health that it's possible to still play catch up here.
Well, Koi's going to have to start trading resources at this point. But I think once he gets out of Phase 2, Koi should be okay. I say should in quotation marks, but you never know. At this point, Koi, I do not believe, has a fairy in a bottle. Koi did have a fairy in a bottle, but the Landmolus refight, Koi was hit and lost that fairy in a bottle.
Yeah, so it's all going to be how clean he can do this final phase. He has his green goo, and that's it. If he takes an errant Ganon hit, then it'll be rough goings for Koi. This is gonna be tight. Frostbite's still making his way up. Meanwhile, Old Man did get his bow. He is on his way. Finally, for these last two crystals, man, he went everywhere. I kind of feel bad for Old Man there.
Alright, so Koi is at the point where I believe he's got 10 hits in on the final form of Ganon.
Excuse me there. I apologize, everyone. Zell, was there any closing thoughts that you wanted to say on this seed, or anything else as we're trying to get things wrapped?
Not really. I feel like the seed kind of played itself as long as you were willing to do Left Side Swamp. That was really the big thing. And Dark Cross. Those were the two big things. And as long as you do those, I think the seed is pretty straightforward. But I could totally understand why people would skip either of them. So that's pretty much all there is to it.
Oh, and there it is. Koi clutching that out.
Yeah, that was not easy. So Koi, there we go. That final step, completing the journey for Koi. Let's see, about 14 minutes behind Zelga, but our second restreamed runner to finish, although I'll have to defer to you for the official time.
Absolutely. Koi's official SRL time, 1:28.29, giving up for fourth place. Matt 7898 did finish in third at 1:23.49, and joining us now is Koi.
Dude, what the heck, Zelga? Seriously?
Just payback for last time when you beat me at like 15 minutes.
Dude, you must have had the best light world ever. I last location. I was already behind it. But jeez.
So, Koi, I have a couple things to talk to you about. First, did you at any point forget that the flippers were on library? Because it seemed like you were running around the area for a while, and then you mirrored back, and you're like, oh wait, something.
Yeah, no, I was routing it to like I went down and did K45 and Stumpy first because I was gonna fly the purple chest over and then just go to Skullwoods and do the north route. But then while I was talking out loud about my options, I was like, okay, so I need the flippers or the fire rod for go mode. Oh yeah, wait, no, I know where the flippers are. Shoot. So I changed my route and I went south with the purple chest instead.
Yeah, that was kind of. We were a little concerned about you. We were like, oh no, come on, Koi, because you were.
Oh yeah, no, I totally
right there.
Straight up forgot about him.
The other thing I have to ask you, and you might kick yourself a little.
But silver's on right side GT.
Yeah, seriously, they were in a home chest.
Yeah, you know, it's just the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes you lose a bunch of time in GT, sometimes you gain a bunch of time. It's really like the story of my life, though. You know, I go to the thing that I need, and in doing so, skip all the things that I wanted.
It's all right. We only found 3 swords, and one of them was, of course, on Lumberjack Ledge. So we have no idea where this 4th sword is. Everyone's been doing Master Sword the whole way.
Yeah, it's no biggie. It's not like I'm afraid of Master Sword Silverless or anything, but Silver's definitely going to save a bunch of time, especially considering I didn't really have the safeties that I wanted to be able to do like fire rod triples. We got some of the lamp triples, but you can't guarantee lamp triples every time.
Yeah, we were a little concerned about you when you took that trident hit early on. We're like, man, again and hug. And he's got to do Master Sword Silverless the whole way.
I was being a little greedy trying to get the 4 hits instead of just the 3 in that cycle.
Well, either way, you still managed to do it, and you put on a bit of a clinic showing us exactly how it's done. Meanwhile, Frostbite is on his Ganon fight. We were honestly concerned that Frostbite would catch up to you there for a while, because he's on Ganon right now, and with Silver.
Yeah, no, I would have gone to get potions, except I saw Zolga finish before I went to GT. So when I see somebody finish at 114, I'm thinking, okay, well, he totally found a sword on the way, right? Definitely found a sword on the way, and then I didn't. So I still had like a fairy and a green potion or something. I was fine for finishing the game, but yeah, going to buy a potion probably would have saved me a little bit of time.
Meanwhile, Frostbite does finish in 5th place with a time of 132.14. And he's followed almost immediately by Sheer, finished in 6th place with a time of 132.51. So let's see if we can get Frostbite in here. Meanwhile, Old Man is about to enter Eastern Palace. And joining us now is Frostbite 3030. GG.
Yeah, thanks, Vitasia. GG's, guys. Yeah, I still can't believe this stupid bow wasn't in Turtle Rock at the end of this thing, but, yeah, whatever. I mean, I don't have to look hard at this one to figure out where I lost time. So annoying, but what can you do? And
Yeah,
it would have been stupid from a viewership standpoint, because obviously people would have had that bow very early, and so you're like, why is this idiot doing this? But, like, I mean, in my mind, I had everything to get into Turtle Rock. Bombos wasn't needed for anything else. Even though I didn't know that at the time, having known that now, it still surprises me, I guess, even more that the bow wasn't in Turtle Rock, but, you know, it is what it is.
Well, given how late Lamp was, you know, logically, that bow was pretty well buried. Just, you know, who did Dark Cross Lamp?
I did.
I mean, everyone probably is my guess. Literally everyone.
Like,
probably
it was when I do Back of Escape, you find map and small key. Like, you know it's an item, and I even have like a sword already, so it's not like a super complicated dark room. So I felt like it was a pretty good play to go to Dark Cross, and you know, get rewarded for the bow. That's awesome. But if it was 20 rupees, I wouldn't have felt bad about it.
Yeah, I didn't have a sword, but I figured with the hook shot, that was good enough to try and get through. I could pull the torches or whatever.
I mean, I did Dark Cross before I did the Front of Escape, so he's still even in the seed. So it's not like I put it off then, but I just found the hammer before I found the bow, and that was really the big problem in this seed for people routing it. Because you find the hammer, it opens up everything. You find the bow, it's the Go mode item that I had that I was looking for about 35 minutes or something like that, it felt like, so. But yeah, fun seed. I feel like I got lucky several times, went to Eastern early, it ended up being required. But in the end, that killed me, because if I'd gone to Escape, I would have had the bow, and I would have ended up full clearing Eastern, which would have got me that pendant or that crystal earlier without the double dip, and it totally negated my advantage of finding the path that led to the Moon Pearl without, if that bow is somewhere in the Dark World. I feel like Eastern is basically the last place a lot of people go, but never, not necessarily when you find the bow so early. So, yeah,
Last
it's
location.
terrible.
I even went back up. I even went back up to Ether Tablet before going into Desert.
Oh yeah, no chance for me. But I was gonna go up to Ether Tablet before I went to Front of Escape, so I guess that makes sense to me. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and it's annoying. Seed was so free, really, really free. I guess the only thing was Left Side Swamp, but I mean, I don't feel like Left Side Swamp was that hard of a call in this case. I bet a lot of people probably did it on the first trip through because of the map.
I mean, when I went to Left Side Swamp, I also could have full cleared Mire and Ice Palace, and I wanted to do Mire and Ice Palace, but I felt so behind at that point, so I'm like, screw it, we'll just do Swamp. So that's why I was so surprised to see Zelga finish when he did, because it's like, that means he went to Swamp way earlier than I did.
Swamp was the very first thing I did in the Dark World, except for Hype Cave. So yeah, and I went straight left before even to the back because of the compass in the first chest.
Yeah.
It was early enough that I felt like if I'm here, I bet we'll just full clear it. So
yeah. I did Thieves Town first, so I even had the mitts, but then I didn't check a single overworld item in the village because I like finding that mitts open, Mire, Ice, and I already had Swamp open, so I was like, well, I'm clearing these dungeons out before I touch even a single another overworld check, other than the ones that are literally right next to them. But then when I found the Fire Rod, I mean, I was really sure that Swamp or Ice was going to be the play because the flippers in the Light World, like, it seemed like the seed was leading you to the flippers with the boots and all that jazz. But then I guess the boots were required for Desert, so I don't know how it... But my brain, I felt like the flippers were going to be sort of integral to the logic of the seed, so I was really suspicious of Swamp from the start. But I was going to sort of do the overworld clear path on the way from Thieves Town to Swamp, and then I found the myths, and I was like, the heck with all these overworld spots. We'll check these after the dungeons if they're still needed, and of course none of them were anything, so I'm happy I made that call. But yeah, I mean, I just made the wrong call in Turtle Rock, which was, I mean, it was a really big gamble, I guess, in one aspect, but I mean, I had all these crystal dungeons I could have go-boated if the bow had been in Turtle Rock, or even a bow. Of course, the other bow had to be in GT, which was, I guess, nice, so I didn't have to do Master Sword serverless, but annoying because I didn't run into it accidentally elsewhere. But, I mean, Dark Escape is one of the most loaded spots, I feel, in V31, and I don't know if it's just a coincidence that it's because they adjusted the logic to that chest, but I feel like if you're looking for something at the end game, prioritizing, and you still have that available like I did, I feel like that's a really, really good spot to go to. Much more valuable, I feel like, than the other three chests in the Front of Escape from a, like, how many times it's required. I've never seen the stats, but I bet they would turn out that way.
I have no idea.
I don't know, I just feel like the more things you need to get a chest in, like, I just feel like I never find anything in the Front of Escape, but, I mean, it's different in sort of different modes, but I feel like Dark Escape is one of those chests that the game loves to put things in and then have a seed like this where it's really available early, but the logic for it's super late. I feel like this is a very sort of common meme that this game likes to throw at you. Especially if you play like Entrance Rando. This is a super, super, super common location in Entrance Rando. But no, I mean, it was fun. I skipped everything. Still sub 140, can't complain about it. But I mean, I lost a ton of time. Had some really bad execution too. Like my Gauntlet 4 was like, I think it probably took longer than the other 4 rooms in the Gauntlet combined, and then had some issues with a few of the boss fights because I didn't have easy equipment for the fights. But other than that, I mean, I played okay.
No, I mean, we nailed it. Really, it all comes down to, did you do Dark Cross or did you not do Dark Cross early? And that was really the big difference maker in this particular race. But you still, I mean, other than the Turtle Rock dive, everything was still productive, and you still continued on. And I mean, 133, still pretty darn good. I mean, there's a lot of people who would kill for anything sub 2 hour.
Oh yeah, I know, I get it. But like I'm not unhappy with the time in a vacuum, right? Because there's seeds where I'd get 133 and I'd be ecstatic about it. But it's always like I guess I kind of knew. I mean, I'm just frustrated that the Turtle Rock play didn't pay off. I was so certain that Turtle Rock was going to be the answer too. It was so funny too. I mean, I beelined it. I had so many other options that I think would have been more reasonable. Like I think the 4 crystal dungeons that I could have full cleared at the time, but I felt like the seed was leading us to Turtle Rock, and it just wasn't. So especially the nice kicker with the ice rod and GT at the end too. That was funny. But I'm also way more likely to dive Turtle Rock in something like this when it is a pendant, and I have the like Samaria was really early, and it didn't it wasn't sort of required for anything other than Mire, so I was suspicious of it, which sort of tilted my brain into going up that way. But yeah, I mean, I still would have probably lost by 5 or 6 minutes. I feel like if I had have done. I mean, I don't know how I get that bow earlier. That's the problem. Finding the hammer before going to escape. I was never going to find the bow before I full cleared all the dungeons and got it with the red crystals like I did. So, I mean, it probably cost me like 7-8 minutes with the TR play, but just this is one of those seeds where going to escape was super, super rewarded.
Well, thank you guys so much for the restream. Unfortunately, I gotta go. I already got my next seed queued up. We gotta get playing.
Yeah, I'm also going to get going as well. Thanks, guys. Vitasia, Frico.
Bye, everybody.
Nice win. Good time.
Nope, GG's. I guess I should probably hop out too. But yeah, thanks everybody for the commentary, restream, tracking. I do really appreciate being able to kind of be showcased like this.
Anytime, guys. That was Zelgadesian, Koi, and Frostbite 3030. If you like what you saw from them, you know, grateful for having volunteers jump on our community streams. Feel free to give them a follow here on Twitch. It's the easiest way to support them.
And to go back to that, I believe Zelgadison was 1st overall, Koi 4th overall, and Frostbite 6th. Out of the entirety of the daily race. And we have Old Man Sunshine finishing off the Moldorm 2 fight. So we should be able to get things wrapped up in pretty short order here.
Absolutely. Just some additional shout-outs. We also have Plasma Kappa, who did finish in 7th place at 139.37. No other finishers quite yet, though.
I think that bow location is going to be a tricky one for most of our runners that are just running the seed.
Yeah, this was a seed that if you know, things had the potential to line up great. But, you know, again, if you didn't get the bow, you could go on a wild goose chase, as Frostbite said. And Old Man Sunshine, his clear rate, I mean, Frostbite opened 27 additional chests over what Zelgadesian did. Now, the next question is going to be, how many did Old Man Sunshine? Because he was doing things like Pyramid Fairy. I mean, the only boss he didn't kill was Tezzert. I mean, Turtle Rock, I think he even full cleared. And man, Old Man's got to be careful here. He's at 5.5 hearts. He's got red mail, so he can survive a Ganon hug. But man, you got to be real careful here.
Oh, and Old Man Sunshine did not go right side, so it does not look like he has silver arrows for later on in the fight as well.
Nope, he's going to have to be careful. You know what? I've seen Old Man do Master of Sword Silverless, I believe. If I remember things.
It looks like cape strats are going to be coming into play, just to make sure he doesn't take a hit. Oh no, getting hit by a bird. So yeah, it looks like we're going to put that cape to use. Alright, having blue goo, that's definitely a plus. And it looked like there was a fairy in a bottle as well, while
It did look like that.
was cycling through.
Man, old man's got to be incredibly careful. He is burning through all of his magic. He does not have... I didn't see any green goo that was available there, and he's got to do Master Sword Silverless. I'm seriously worried about old man's ability to complete this fight right now.
You are not the only one. So, we'll see. I mean, it looks like we've got the torch glitch, so... Oh, he hit him too early.
Oh, he's got silver.
Oh, he does have silvers. Oh, surprise, surprise. Well, that changes things drastically.
Okay, I am no longer worried.
Yeah, and that'll do it. Old man taking down Ganon much easily. Much more easy than I thought that last section of the fight was going to be. But let's get those GGs in the chat. Old Man Sunshine crossing the finish line.
Yes, GG's. Old Man Sunshine does finish in 8th place, 146.03. And he says in chat, randoed. Yeah. Om's got randoed. Let's see if he is willing to jump in here. And joining us on the back end is Old Man Sunshine. How you doing, sir?
I was doing better about 40 minutes ago. When I hit that bow mode, that's when everything went to the no good.
Yeah, it was a seed of feast or famine. Everything kind of logically opened up for you, and those people who had an early escape check and sequence broke those dark rooms to get the bow, they had a significantly easier time.
Yeah, that's what we call getting randoed. But yeah, and except for that, I felt like I blew right through that. But then I got I had the bad position of, okay, I need to find one item and everything is open.
Yeah, that was the rough part about this seed, and we were talking about it. You know, everyone kind of went their separate directions, but you always got to be careful when you have so much early on, because it does do things like open things up all over the place, and you're just kind of stuck wondering, oh, I'm one item away from go mode.
Yeah, but you can only be so careful. I mean, the other option is to basically hundo, open every freaking chest, which means you don't miss anything, but you had a slower time.
Well, I mean, this is true, and I'll be interested to figure out or to see what your collection rate was. Zelgadesian, who was on the restream with you and finished in first place, he only opened 125 chests, which is super low for random.
Yeah, except for that bow, I really didn't need to open that many chests, so I don't know what it's going to be. I mean, there wasn't really any logic pointing to it. It's almost sphere 1 or 0, whatever you want to call it. It just blocked by the lamp, where was that? That was in Thieves Town.
Yeah, I mean, it was still relatively deep, and, most people don't think about going back to escape for that Dark Cross after you've already bypassed it and gone into the Dark World and you're doing everything else. It's just one of those locations that gets left behind sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's sure I knew I left it behind, but at the same time, everything else was sitting there. So it's like, well, what do I open first? I really don't feel bad about missing it. It was just, it's the decision I made. So,
I mean, that's fair. We figure at this point the last sword absolutely had to be there on the left side of Ganon's tower, because between you and Frostbite, we have seen just about everything else in the entire race. So we're like, oh, there's nothing, nowhere else. I mean, we saw the third one on Lumberjack Ledge, but no one found another sword.
Anyone turn in the green pendant? I'm guessing yes. Or did they?
I think so.
Well, that's a good question. I don't recall what.
Looks like
the
Link Force
hospital
says
had.
it was.
Might have
It
been
was
a
crap.
piece of part, but I'm kind of guessing on that one.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just at the point I was at, I just like, okay, I gotta find the bow somewhere in here. The funny part was I was planning on asking where the other bow was, and then I found it in the hope chest.
Yeah, I mean, when Zell first entered, we were like, okay, how many chests is he going to open? How deep is he going to go trying to find something so he doesn't Master Sword Silverless? And immediately our question was answered.
Yeah.
And it was disgusting.
Yeah, and that's no good for us because one of the bow upgrades was in GT, so.
Yep.
I had one seed where both bows were in pod. That was fun.
Ew.
Yeah. That is not a nice place for both of them.
Well, we're going to try to get things wrapped up here. Old man, did you have anything else to add about the season?
No, not really. I'm gonna look forward to re-watching the race and see how everything went. I did pretty good. It's just that one item.
Yeah, that was the story of the whole seed. It's, who
Yep.
went to Dark Cross and who didn't.
Yep. Thanks y'all for commenting and tracking and such.
Thank you again,
Absolutely.
everyone. That was Old Man Sunshine. Remember to give Old Man Sunshine, Koi, Zelgadesian, and Frostbite 3030 a follow here on Twitch if you liked what you saw from them. Also, another shout out to Link Force Zero, doing all the tracking. Solo tracking for runners is not easy, especially when everything is spread out and people are going in different directions as much. So Link Force Zero, GG's to you. You're a beast. Also, a big shout out to Freako, man. Pleasure working with you today.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a while. I could tell I was a little rusty in trying to remember certain things about what exactly I was doing here. I'm like, wait a second, this isn't Zelda 2. Aside from that, it's still fun to do the mouth word things every so often.
Do the mouth words out of the voice boxes.
There you go. Collection rate 144.
Okay.
Wow, that's actually
That's not
low.
bad, actually.
Less than 20 chests open more.
Yeah, from what I saw, I'm going, oh, he's got to be close to about 160 at this point.
Maybe the fact that I went the correct way in GT or something. Anyway.
That
Possibly.
could be.
Yep.
That could be.
All right, and one last shout out. Remember to follow us on Speed Gaming 1 through 6. We are in the middle of our Link to the Past randomizer tournament. Make sure to follow Speed Gaming 1 through 6 to make sure you don't miss any more randomizer action. That's going to do it for us here at Speed Gaming. Make sure to give us a follow, and we will see you at the next race, everyone.
Have a good night, everybody.